Welcome to the Game Changer Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Byrne, and we got a special guest with us today. We got Hunter from New Mexico. So how you doing? Let's bring him back. Tell him about your upbringing. Where you from?
Yeah, so I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
I've been doing real estate. I've been a realtor for about 2.5 years. Always been interested in finance,
Let's bring him back. Let's talk about your upbringing. So do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got a brother and 3 half-brothers.
Okay.
My mom, my dad, divorced, but we all grew up in New Mexico, from Belen and Santa Fe, which are some little cities around there. But yeah, I grew up in Albuquerque my whole life.
Did you have any jobs, any hustles growing up?
I did restaurants a lot. That's what I did. I was a server growing up. Mm-hmm. Ever since I can remember. I think I was like 15. I had to get a worker's permit to work. Yeah. So I've always been working restaurants. That's what I mainly did until I went to school. Yeah, my mom always told me, my mom and my dad, like, get a server job because it gets you better at speaking to people and listening and talking to people. So did you do that for any reason, or was that like just your sanctioned job? I started as a host, and obviously serving was more money. So when I turned 19, I just wanted to start serving. I like the cash. Okay. You get cash every night, so that was cool. But yeah, a lot of customer service, that's where you begin to learn, build those skills with talking to people and getting familiar with that. And even sales, because when you're selling your server, you're upselling. So stuff like that, just learning those basic, business skills as a server is cool. Okay.
Did you go to college?
Yes, sir. Yep. So I graduated from the University of New Mexico with a bachelor's degree in finance and management information systems.
Okay. So after college, did you do a job within that field?
Sort of. I went to do mortgages. So I wish I would have done an internship when I was in college, but I didn't. So I was after college, I was thinking what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I ended up going and doing mortgages. And that's how I got into the real estate side. So I was on the mortgage side doing the lending and stuff like that. How
was that?
I didn't really like it.
Why not?
I was more behind the desk. And I like finance, I like numbers, but I was more pushing paper, behind the desk. You go out a little bit to meet other realtors, but most of the work was in the office. So
you wanted to be on the field.
Yeah, and so I went a few different jobs. I worked at a bank after that, and then I worked at an investment company, and then my friend actually was a realtor, and so that's how I got into real estate.
Okay, so was that your first option? Did you hear about wholesaling at this time?
No, I knew about wholesaling once I got into real estate. I've heard about people buying and flipping houses or buying and flipping land, assigning contracts. So I knew a little bit about it, but not too much.
Okay, so with your real estate license, right? How'd you get your first deal?
So I was on a team, and I actually started back in 2021.
Okay. And
I started on a team, and they gave me leads to begin. But people were buying houses like crazy back then. I think in 6 months I sold 12 houses. And that's unheard of, starting out. Usually you have to take a little bit of time. But people were buying houses left and right because the rates were so low, still in the 3s at that time.
Okay.
So people were buying houses. But yeah, that's how I got my first deal, was just being on a team, and they're helping me out and throwing me some deals.
Were you cold calling?
We did a little bit of cold calling, and then we were working with Zillow, some paid leads through Zillow. And then just reaching out to the sphere of influence and, trying to, the people
Yeah. Did you close any land deals?
I didn't close any land deals I don't think so, my first year. Not me, but I worked on a team. Mm-hmm. And since I was new, I was doing a lot of the paperwork and stuff. So I definitely worked on the back end on some land deals.
Okay. So how was your first land deal?
It was good. It's a lot easier than selling houses, I think.
What makes it easier?
Just people aren't so crazy with inspections. When you have a house, there's a lot more steps and processes, and it's a bigger purchase usually for people. A house is a $300,000 purchase versus, some land, especially where I'm from. You don't really get too much into that, those high prices, but it's a lot less of a, investment for some people, so it's not as crazy, and then the process is a lot quicker for land, close land in a couple weeks versus 30 to 45 days for a house.
Okay. So we closed the deal together, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about that process. My dispo manager, Magic, we seen on Zillow that this part of New Mexico, we seen a good rate of lots selling within the last 30 to 90 days. So we decided to contact builders. So we reached out to a couple builders. They weren't as consistent with us, so we decided to contact realtors. And then that's when Magic contacted you. Do you remember what he said to you?
I think Magic just called me out, and I was pretty surprised. He just said we had found you, online, and we have some lots. Kind of told me what you guys do, that you guys are wholesalers, and then you had a few potential lots that you wanted me to list. And so, I gave it a shot, asked them to send me over the addresses, and I think I did some comps for you guys, and we discussed, some list prices, and I think we got like 2 or 3 lots listed, within that same few days. So when Magic called me.
Yep. So what made you, because most realtors, they don't work with wholesalers, right? We contact a lot of realtors. I'll probably say out of every 6 that we call decides to work with us. So what made you, believe in us, and what made you, decide to work with a wholesaler?
I guess a lot of the realtors are probably a little older too. So sometimes I don't think they understand what wholesaling is. And so they may not completely understand it and feel comfortable with doing it. I know we're a little younger, so I kind of knew what wholesaling was, and I knew the process, and I felt comfortable, listing lots. There was some paperwork that I needed from you guys just to be sure about it. But once you guys gave me the contracts that you had with the other party, I had no problem listing it. Yep. And I'll take as many listings as I can, so.
So what would you say to like another wholesaler, right, that's just starting out, that can't find a builder, but wants to network with realtors or even contact you? What would you tell them, or what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think just call them. Realtors are just people, and they want deals. So if you go up to a realtor, and that's what's kind of weird about you saying that, you one of out of 6 or 7 realtors will work with you, but it's like a deal's a deal. No matter what price it is. It could be $1,000. We sold $500 pieces of land, and then we sold $300,000 pieces of land or houses. So a deal's a deal, and you never know what relationship is going to bring what. Yeah. So that $500 piece of land could turn into something bigger, which it has, right?
Which it has, facts. So to bring it back to the deal that we did, right? So Magic contacted you. You guys built that connection. You let us know the price in the area. So now with this one that we had, we actually got it for around low 20s or mid 20s, right? You said you could list it for around 30, 35.
Yep.
That's what you did. And, can you talk a little bit more about this deal?
Yeah. So it did take a little bit longer to sell. And that's just kind of typical in our market. New Mexico isn't as crazy as Tampa or some other big markets, but stuff still sells. So I think I just said, I think it'll sell. I know you're a little like, I don't know if we should be in this market, is it going to sell? Yeah. But it got us sold, and I know you got a good deal.
But even before that, we had a buyer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We had a buyer.
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the inspection, like right before the inspection was about to expire, they backed out because there was something on the lot.
It was a survey. So we did a survey, and we found out it was an acre survey, it was an acre lot. We found out about 40% of it was in an arroyo. So there was an arroyo going in the back that was cutting into about 40% of the lot. And so I guess the buyers just weren't comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But then I know you guys split the survey with them, but we did have the survey, and I think that helped to our advantage, because once we had the survey on there, all the buyers that are looking, they're aware of everything. And so when we got it under contract a second time, there was no surprises for them. So. And
even on our side, the acquisitions, because we got that survey, and now the seller, they see that there's a royal on the lot, that allowed us to get the price from 25 to 10,000. Because they're like, you know what, we just want to sell this lot. If you guys could do 10,000, we'll sell it. And I remember calling you, like, we could get this for 10. Do you think we could still sell it for like around 30? He was like, Elijah, we could do it. Just be patient, be patient. And then right when I closed on it, I think the next day you called me and was like, we have a buyer for $27,000.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to sell that quickly because I know we had talked about dropping the price a little bit, just getting a little bit more aggressive so we can sell it faster. But then we got, like you said, right after you close on the land, I think it was a couple days, we got it sold again.
Yep,
so
that's lit.
That's how we do it.
Congrats. Like, that's good. It shows you that with building connections, all Magic did was pick up the phone, typed on Google realtors in this specific area. Hunter came up, contacted him, built that connection. Now you know where to market to. And this is a free method. It ain't cost us no money to make the connection with Hunter that pocket us $17,000. So that's something you guys could do too, right? But now you're building.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about that process. What made you even want to start building?
Yeah, so when I joined the team, it's mainly me, my teammate Richard, and then our mentor Dustin. And Dustin has been building and selling commercial real estate and residential real estate for 30 years. So the goal of the team, which kind of got me really wanting to do it with them too, was to start building. And Dustin was going to get his license again, his contractor's license, and we're going to start building. And so, that's what we do too. Mainly realtors, but on the side we build houses.
Yeah. So what's the first thing you're looking for with building? Because I want to start looking into building, right? I got some capital reserves. So what would you say is like the first step for me?
So right now we're building custom for people. So we get a client that wants to build a house. We find them a piece of land, and then we build them a house customized to them.
Yeah.
Whereas what I like to do, and probably what you'd like to do, is build it and then sell it. So
like a spec home builder.
Like a spec home builder. That's what I would like to get into. But I guess it just depends on the market, right?
Yeah.
In New Mexico, it's going to be a lot different than here. So I think the biggest thing is, and I'm still learning this, and that's why I kind of came down here, and we could talk about that as well, but is to know your market and know what's going to sell in your market, right?
Yeah.
Know where do we want to be.
How can these people know their market?
Yeah, I think just looking at the houses that are selling, kind of like what you guys did, right? You guys went on Zillow, saw the areas where the lots are hot. So if you're a builder, you probably want to be in the area where the lots are selling, where land is appreciating, where that shows that it's a strong area with a lot of demand. Yeah. So I think probably location, knowing where you want to build, and then what's going to work in that location. New Mexico is completely different architecture than in Florida. Yeah. So just knowing, and then obviously if you're from that, but if you're not from there, I think it's important to, and you talk to other builders. I mean, call other contractors. Yeah. Talk to realtors. That's another thing. Builders are probably talking to realtors and saying, "Hey, what's selling in this area? What do you think about if we build a house here?" It's just really, really networking. And that's one thing that I respect about you even coming down here, because you came down here for the closing, which is cool. Like the day of closing, that we're closing on this deal together, he's down here and we signing papers. But even more than that, you are checking out these different areas. You're contacting these contractors in these different areas, building connections, checking out the market. So when you start to build down here, you already formed those connections. Like that's extremely smart. Yeah, absolutely. Like, what was your thought process in doing that? Well, I'm not from here, so it's first of all again, kind of what we just talked about is doing your research. Again, just like what we did, I went on Zillow. I was looking up different areas where, they're building houses and where the lots are selling. And I nailed down a few different areas that I wanted to go to, and just met with the realtor yesterday. I'm meeting with another contractor on Thursday, and just trying to build those relationships and learn more about, what will work down here, because every market's different. What we're doing up there won't work down here. So really just trying to dive in and learn as much as I can, from people that are experts and that are in the market. Gotcha. So let's say, you couldn't fail, right? What is your vision looking forward? If I couldn't fail, I think what I would like to do, and this is the plan, is to build spec homes kind of like we talked about and sell those, and then get into building bigger multifamily projects, to keep as rentals. So that would be what I'd like to do, is start building some multifamily. I know we're going to try to build like a duplex or a triplex out there in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I want to do. I really want to move to the building side. I love, being a realtor and helping people, but I think it's more scalable, and I kind of have a bit more passion and fire for the building side.
Yeah. Okay. So what was like a moment within this real estate that like you felt very fulfilled, like extremely proud about?
I think when we did our first house, because we're actually building them. The first house, our team, 4 of us, framed the whole house, did all the HVAC. And on these houses, we're doing all the HVAC and all the plumbing. So I think it's kind of weird, but it's kind of like a piece of art. You take a dirt lot, you put this building on it where someone's going to live, and it's kind of cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys are doing all the work, like the contractor work.
Yeah, we're doing all the work, so I'm doing all the plumbing, all the HVAC, a little bit of electrical. We've remodeled a couple of our buildings.
Yeah.
And so, I'm trying to learn everything, but we're doing all the work ourselves.
That's dope. So when you get into this Florida market, man, we definitely got to partner on some builds.
Absolutely.
Within the next couple years.
Absolutely.
I think that would be dope. But what would you say, like, to the viewers, somebody that's just looking into real estate, they're not sure which direction to go? What advice would you give them?
I think just talk to people talk to, Eli, he's doing wholesaling, talk to a realtor, talk to a builder, and kind of see what you like, and you don't have to choose anything now. There's so many things to do with real estate, like, you started off wholesaling houses, and then you moved to wholesaling land. And so that's what's cool about real estate, is there's not one pocket that's going to fit everyone.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different things that you can do and make money, doing real estate. I'm a realtor, you're a wholesaler, people are builders, investors, you could flip homes, so just really dive into the parts that you find interesting, and there's so much to do with real estate. So that's why I really like it as well.
Gotcha. What was like one of your biggest inspirations to become like an entrepreneur and a realtor? I've
always just really liked business. When I was younger, I thought I was going to be like a stock analyst, I've always liked finance. I've always liked math and numbers. So I don't know if necessarily there was something that got me straight into real estate, but I've always knew that I just didn't want to work a 9 to 5. I kind of wanted to create something for myself and, lead a team. And so I don't know if there's one specific thing, but just having that freedom of working for yourself and building something for yourself, I think is really cool.
Yes, sir. So where can the people follow you?
They can follow me on Instagram at hgonzalez02. And then they can also look me up online, if you need anything real estate related in New Mexico. We have a great team. And, I appreciate everything that you've done for me as well. And, I'm excited.
Yes, sir. So if you guys want to join my free class, I do free classes every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern.